Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk. I am Phillip Carter. I'm here with my co-host, Alex Brown. How you doing, Al?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we must rejoice and be glad in it. I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be in the land of the living. And we have a great show today. We have a segment from Les Gardner, a fitness trainer. We have two very successful women. I call them business moguls. Wanda Childs is here from Blessed 24/7, and she has two other businesses that we're going to find out today. And we also have journalist, evangelist, and missionary Sarah Hearn, who is here with us today as well.
Come on, Sarah.
It's a lot going on today. It's going to be a great show. We want you to tune in, and we're featuring music. I'm doing some throwback stuff today.
Like what?
We got Victor Johnson and Free.
Okay.
We're going to play today. And if you look real closely at the video, you'll see a pop star playing the keyboard for Victor Johnson.
Okay.
That is now a very, very well sought after pop star. So y'all enjoy this throwback from Victor Johnson called We Bring the Sacrifice of Praise. Enjoy.
Sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord. Come on, put your hands together. We're going to have a good time tonight.
We bring the sacrifice of praise into the house of the Lord. We bring the sacrifice of praise.
a sacrifice of praise with the fruit of your lips.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Talk. I am Phillip Carter. I'm here with my co-host, Alex Brown, and I am here with local business mogul, Wanda Childs, with whom I used to go to church with way back in the day at First Baptist Church of North Brentwood.
That's right.
And God has just blessed both of our ministries and businesses. It's been amazing. And you have an amazing story. And first of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
You are the owner of Blessed 24/7 Shop. You also own a Printing Express shop, which is different from Blessed 24/7.
Yes.
And then you have the Blessed 24/7 Foundation, which is a mentoring program.
Exactly.
But before we get into all that, tell us how you got started. I remember you at First Baptist, and I remember when you branched off, but give us your story.
Oh, wow. Okay, the story goes deep. I got fired from my daytime job.
Wow.
God gave me the message, Blessed 24/7, 22 years ago. But I needed to leave my job in order to do what God said. He said take my ministry full time. Well, I had to stop there because, first of all, I didn't have a ministry because I was still going to happy hour. And I'm being real.
Right.
We're talking 22 years ago.
Right.
I'm still going to happy hour, and God says take your ministry to the next level. So I had to line up with His word, line up what He said, and once I did, I was almost there, but I couldn't quit. And so while I wrestled with how do I quit a job where I've been for 20-something years, I'm single, mortgage, teenage son at the time, how do you quit? And I wrestled, and I made excuses, and I complained, and while I was doing all that, God loved me enough to have me fired. And when I got fired, I was literally pushed into my purpose. I was forced to do the things that God had called me to do, and who knew that I could do it so well.
Look at God.
Wow, and you have, your business has really, really grown. I remember vaguely coming to your house, seeing your son, and you telling me about you getting fired, and it's all coming back to me now, and about, the struggle of starting a business. But talk about the struggle of starting a business, especially in this area. What were some of your biggest struggles, and then what was the turning point in terms of you becoming successful or growing as a business?
The biggest struggle was believing in myself. The second biggest struggle was believing that financially the dream would take care of the business.
Absolutely.
And so you can believe in yourself, but if the money is not there, then how are you going to pay the bills? You have a teenage son who wants to go to college, all that comes along with it. So faith, I believed in it, but financially I didn't. And I believed at some point it would, but when God said quit now, I said, well, I'm not there financially, so why don't we wait, God, until I'm financially set?
Right.
And then I'll do what you call me to do.
That makes human sense, right.
Exactly. And someone said, so you told God to show you the money. And I backed up and said, oh my God, I guess I did. And they said, sweetheart, that's not a faith walk. If you ask God to show you the money, then that's not a faith walk.
Like Thomas.
And so now, I don't say show me the money. I just say, what do you want me to do next? So the struggle was believing in myself. And then overcoming the depression that came along with the request. So when God said leave, people say, well, why were you depressed? I don't know. I know now, but I didn't know then. So I can answer that now. I was depressed because God had called me to do something. And once I acknowledged that it was Him, I said no.
Wow.
And I was just thinking when you said that, He loved you enough to fire you. Like, how did that feel? That's still blowing my mind.
Well,
He loved me enough to
fire me.
I say
Thank
that
you,
because while I had the job, I was depressed.
Okay.
And wanting to do what God had called me to do, start Blessed 24/7 as a retail gift shop, as a business, wanting to do that, but afraid. And so the depression was, I don't want to go to the job anymore. I don't want to drive to the job anymore. I'm not happy at the job anymore. And now I looked God in the face and said no. Who wouldn't be depressed? Now, as long as I played like I didn't know that was God, and I just said, oh my God, the devil is busy trying to get me fired from my job. I could play with that and get away with it for a while. But the moment that I knew it was God calling me out, and I still said no, then the depression hit. Because now I'm afraid, because I know I just said no to God.
Wow.
I didn't say no to the devil, I said no to God. So when I said He loved me enough to fire me, people don't believe this. The day I got fired, the depression was released.
Wow. Is that right?
Yeah.
let's get into some of the nuts and bolts. I mean, how'd you get started? Did you just take out a lease on on building space, or?
Well, no, I actually had the retail store for 9 years, but I've been in business 22.
Okay.
So in the beginning, I was at the yard sale. I was at the Baptist convention.
Right.
I was on the side of 95.
You did what you needed to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was selling it, getting the word out. I was traveling up and down
Mobile
the East
office.
Coast. Yes. Yeah. And so first God gave me the message and made me live it. So how are you going to tell others that you're blessed 24/7? And then challenge me when a man asked me, well, my wife has cancer. So you expect me to think I'm still blessed 24/7? So God had to challenge me in areas of having to fight for things and having to struggle and then winning. And then seeing that even in the struggle, even in the depression, I was still blessed. Because in the depression, it sent me into the bottom of the pit. But in the bottom of the pit, I was alone.
You preaching.
But I was alone enough to hear God. And I was alone enough that when God climbed down in the pit, he didn't reach in and pull me out. He climbed down in the pit to tell me all that I had done wrong.
You know what you're saying to me?
Minister to me.
You're saying to me that a lot of our struggle is really in the foundational belief. And if we can get over the foundational belief and just walk in it, of course we're going to struggle. Yeah. But knowing that we're going to make it will cause us to forge ahead. Exactly. And eventually we want to find success. Success will find us.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I hear you saying. And there are a lot of young African American women out here that are trying to start their own businesses online, or trying to find a place. Give them some advice today, something that they can lean on.
I would say if you're interested in starting a business, well, can I say this? Take my
sure,
seminar?
Sure. Go on. Talk about your seminar.
Yes. I have the Blessed 24/7 Foundation, which is my mentoring program. And my mentoring program teaches you how to start a business from ground zero. That's how I had to start. No mentors, no advice, just get in there and make the mistakes.
Right.
And so I teach how to start a business from ground zero for those who are interested. And believe it or not, those who have started still come to me because they don't understand why they've done the things that they've done.
Right.
I have an EIN number, or I have a tax exempt. I have all these things, but I don't understand why. Because you can have them and misuse them.
Right.
And so I do those seminars, those workshops. The Blessed 24/7 Foundation is a nonprofit. This came after I got fired. Blessings afterwards.
So where can we sign up?
Anyone can just call, email me, go online. The seminars are done by request. You just call and tell me the day that you want your seminar to be on, and if my calendar is clear, it's a one-on-one session. I do group sessions, and just when I thought I wasn't good enough to elevate the seminar sessions, I've been doing it for years. I get a call, and WSSC, our local water company, hired me to come teach it at their headquarters.
That's a blessing.
For a room that they had reserved for 30 people.
Wow, that's a blessing. You also have a Printing Express, and that's different from the Blessed 24/7 gift shop, right?
Absolutely. Before Blessed 24/7, I'm a custom printer.
Okay.
I do custom printed merchandise. I print on blank merchandise. I literally have 80,000 different products for you to choose from, like pens, keychains, hats, water bottles, embroidery, screen printing. I've done that for 23 years. My smallest project was one T-shirt for a guy who just wanted twinkles on a shirt for his daughter. And my largest project was 116,000 pieces for the FBI. And they were miniature flashlight keychains that said FBIjobs.org.
Well, you are blessed.
Currently, I just got blessed, and God be hearing me cry out. I just got blessed with a big job from my local water company, and I'm printing 15,000 water bottles, 15,000 tote bags.
Aren't you glad God loved you enough?
I'm inspired. I am really inspired.
These aren't every day.
Right.
This is
I
not
know,
every day.
but I'm inspired because I'm in business. I've been in business for a long time, and it gets rough. Yeah. But hearing stories like yours, it inspires me to move on and to forge ahead. And I hope somebody else would be inspired by the testimony that you've heard today from Sister Wanda Childs. Talk about your son. I remember him when he was a little guy, and now he's grown up to be a Fine young man. He's all over the world. You was telling me before we got on the broadcast
He's
today.
Awesome. He is. I brought him. Now let me tell you this. Most people don't know this. I started going to North Brentwood First Baptist because of my son.
Wow.
We were watching TV on church every Sunday, and my son, while I was sitting in the middle of the floor eating a bowl of cereal, he was 5 years old. He pointed to the TV and said, "Mom, how come you don't take me there?"
Is that right?
And I looked at him while eating. I said, "Church?" Like it was weird.
Right.
I kid you not. And I took him to North Brentwood First Baptist, and we were there for 12 years. My son got baptized. He made me sit up front. He was like, "Mom, I'm getting baptized. I'm getting saved today, so we're going to sit up front so I don't have father work."
And a child shall lead
He was
him.
7 years old. He got his mama in church. And I have not left going to church since.
So where you going to church at now?
I'm at Reed Temple.
Okay, yeah, Pastor Lee P. Washington.
Yes, yep,
Let me tell you
Reed
something.
Temple.
It has been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
I wish you so much success. I want to ask you one more question. Well, actually, two more questions. If you can answer this in 30 seconds. What's your future plans, like 5 years from now?
5 years
Where do you
from
see
now,
yourself?
I would love to have Blessed 24/7, the gift shop, as a franchise, where there are stores located all over the United States and at some point out of the country as well. Most people don't know this. I own the name Blessed 24/7 across the country.
That's awesome.
I trademarked it, so
And
no
that's-
one else can use it, and I use it in the form of gifts
Amen.
as a gift shop.
That's awesome. Sports fan?
Not really. I like boxing, but
Okay.
I haven't been following it lately.
Okay, who was your favorite boxer, let's say 20 years ago? Who were you
20
really
years
into?
ago, oh God, I can't even think of one.
Don't date yourself.
But
It's
they
okay.
were. I know, because it really is gonna. It really is.
He's setting you up.
No, I'm not saying you are.
It really was gonna date myself.
Oh, good. All I just wanted to know is that you weren't a Redskin fan. I mean, that's really all I wanted to
You
know.
have
we always
Blessed
gotta come to this.
24/7 Redskin.
Well, I mean,
color
you still
jersey.
Give me some right there.
You have to make money.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? I understand
I
that.
do.
You know, look, you
But
when
she
in
doesn't have to
Rome,
make bad choices.
when in Rome, do as the Romans.
Here, I'm gonna have to make bad
You have to make
choices.
bad choice. Thank you
That's
so
good.
much for being on our show.
I
We wish you
appreciate
the
that.
best. Listen, y'all, we're getting ready to go back to a vintage Victor Johnson and Free song called He's Still God, written by Reverend Al Islam. We're going to play a portion of this. It's a long video. We might have to cut it short, but I want you to enjoy it and to know that God is still on the throne.
Yes, he is.
Amen.
Amen.
That was great.
Was that good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
In knowing that he is still God. Mr. Benjamin Al Islam.
When I watch the news, I sometimes feel that troubles will last always. But I'm not deceived just because all they want me to hear every day is more bad news. I'm not dismayed. I am secure in knowing that he's still God. Yeah. Yeah. I'm secure in knowing. Yes, I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's racial hatred and disaster seems to be spreading throughout the land. He wants us to trust in him, that no matter the condition, he's in full control. I'm not dismayed. I am secure in knowing do understand. I don't care what it looks like, he's still God. Yeah. 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 Listen.
I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a tidbit. It's a long song with Victor Johnson and Free entitled "He's Still God." Alex, talk about this next segment that we're about to see.
Well, Phil, this next segment is with a good friend of mine, personal trainer Leslie Gardner, and Leslie is a phenomenal guy who trains a lot of people in the DMV. If you are having issues, and a lot of us are health issues or whatever, it's because of the redundant stuff, not the redundant, it's because of the continuous stuff that we do to our bodies over and over again. Les is going to show us, give us some background information, and just tell us how we can get fit, how we can get healthy, and how we can share in if we want to get involved with him at his gym.
Watch this and enjoy.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Alex Brown from Real Talk, and I just got through with a killer workout from my man Les Gardner, and I'm here to interview him to ask him a few questions about personal fitness. Les, why don't you come on over here and talk to the people?
What's up, big man?
How you doing, bro?
Good,
This
man.
is Les Gardner, professional trainer to the star. Les, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give some background information.
All right, started professional training about 7 years ago, and it all started when I was diagnosed with hypertension and pre-diabetic, high cholesterol. Started training myself, told the doctor I didn't want to be on medication. Next thing you know, I'm here training.
So when did you realize that you had a passion for fitness?
I want to say about, I guess after I got in shape, I was like, I can help somebody, you know, and then like a lot of people was following me anyway when I was training myself, and I had about 5 or 6 people. I was training for free. I was like, look, I ain't gonna charge y'all nothing, just follow me and do what I tell you to do, and hopefully I can get you right. And ended up helping out about 6, 7 people, got them off medication, and next thing you know, a partner of mine said, hey, look, you need to do this for a living. Next thing you know, I was up in Bally's with no certificate, nothing. Went in there with before and after pictures. Next thing you know, I became a personal trainer. I got my certificate through LA Fitness, but it is what it is. I had to go out on my own because I didn't like the way they was paying, tell you the truth. They weren't doing nothing. They weren't trying to help the people. They was trying to rob them. Next thing you know, I went to this other company. I ain't gonna say no name. But I did pretty good there, but I didn't like the atmosphere out there. So next thing you know, moved myself over here in Maryland. Been loving it ever since now with my friends and family, like my real friends and family.
What are the disadvantages or the advantages that you've encountered as a personal trainer?
Well, the disadvantage of not training is you just letting your body rot. Your body was fit. Your body was made to move, pick up weight, pick up yourself. You gotta carry yourself. So I figured to carry yourself, you need more muscle. You need to build muscle. And next thing you know, build a muscle, get you a healthy heart, get you strength. And the disadvantages is if you don't work out, stuff like what I had at first, diabetes, and all these diseases start creeping up on you because your muscles, your body is weak. Your immune system has gone down, so you have really no chance of making it for a long life, you know.
Okay.
So those are the disadvantages.
So if you had to tell people, people who had the same lifestyle for the last 20 years, I'm talking hypertension, I'm talking diabetes, I'm talking thyroid issues, what would you tell them if you could tell them a few things now?
You're not 15 or more, you're not a youngin'. Anybody over 25, 30, it's time to get yourself right. All that partying, drinking, all that sugar, all them carbohydrates, meaning bread, pasta. You know, it's okay to eat it, but y'all indulge when y'all do that. So if y'all can cut that back a little bit, that'll help a whole lot with your diet and with your heart. And, you know, just keep you all in shape, keep you right.
Okay, just a few more things. I've been running. I've been running 5 or 6 years. Some cardio, man, that's my thing. What would you tell a person who only does cardio as training?
Okay, as far as the cardio, as you can see, we don't have no treadmills in here, no ellipticals. We do all functional training. We do boot camp training. We lift weights. We do ropes. We slam balls. We do jump squats, lunges. We flip tires. That's our cardio here. That's what we do here. We do not do a lot of treadmill and ellipticals. As a matter of fact, we don't do any because I don't have any. So running, you won't build muscle. Actually, you'll lose muscle. You'll lose the weight, but say Ed, about 230, 240? 280. Yeah, 280. Say Ed start running right now, Ed look like this at 280. Ed get down to about 180. Ed gonna still look like that, but he gonna be saggy and soft. Now I'm 210, and say I get down to 180 and I'm just lifting weights and stuff. I'm gonna look still 210, but I'm gonna be cut. Ed's not gonna have cuts. He's just gonna be 210. You know what I mean? With at 280, and I'm gonna be looking lean at 180, cut. So the difference is you build muscle to lose, and plus building muscle, you lose weight faster. Your metabolism speeds up. The more muscle you have, the more weight you lose. So the quicker you lose weight, put it like that.
So what about the women? What about the women that says, but I don't want to get all muscular looking, and I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. I want to look feminine. I want to look soft. What do you say to that?
I tell them to come over here and look at this wall. You want to start with this one? Look at her. Do she look like a man? That was her right there. Now look at her right there. That's 336. That's what, 190, 195. Look at her head. She 52 years old. Do she look like a man? I don't think so. And all she did was lift weights. Same thing here. Police officer, MPD. Do she like a man? No. Same one here. All these ladies lift weights. No cardio. That's all weight training and boot camp. And even me. That's me up there. No elliptical, no treadmill. That's me right there.
Wow.
So that's what I say, do. If they look like men, I take them.
I get it.
Yeah,
So what if I want to come here? Can you give us an example of what a short workout would look like? Maybe 2 or 3 exercises that you can do really, really quick.
Yeah.
That can kind of show people exactly what you're kind of doing.
All right, I got you. All right, let's do curl. Matter of fact, here's a.
Maybe I can grab something.
All right, there you go. Here's a good compound workout. You're working your legs, your glutes, you're working your shoulders and your core. You're gonna squat down, all the way down, press them up. 1. Squat down, press them up. 2. And you can do this for 30 seconds. And after that, you can put the weights down. Wait about 15 more seconds. Let's do some push-ups. Let's do 10 real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we stand them up. And we can do some jump squats real quick. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. So that's a quick workout. You can do that for 30 minutes. Keep repeating it for 30 minutes, 30 seconds each round with a 10-second break in the middle. That's your cardio right there. My heart,
It's
my heart up already.
It's
They
already
do a
up. It's
little
already
bit.
up.
So,
All right, in the last 30 seconds, why don't you tell the people just where you're located and how they can reach you on social media and the internet?
all right, right now I'm located at 551 Ritchie Road, Capitol Heights, Maryland. My Facebook page is Let's Talk More Training. My Instagram page is Let's Talk More Training. And my personal Facebook page, I put a lot of stuff on there too, is Leslie Pro Trainer Garner. And my my number is 202-438-9462. And we also have another instructor here. We can put her on there. She holding the camera. And you can give up your info.
Hi, my name is Indira Levine. On Instagram, I am Photog, which is FAUXTOG.fit, FIT.Indira. And on Facebook, it's Indira Levine. I have my phone number, 843-991-0904. And I don't look like a man. I lift weights. I lift heavy weights. I had a long journey. I trusted less. And I'm here with Ed every day. and it's been worth it. It's the best decision I ever made to just make the start, to just come here, trust someone, listen to someone, and that's all you have to do. Once you walk through the doors, it's a family. This is like my brother. Les is like my best friend. So it's like, once you're in these walls, you trust us, and we got you.
Okay. You heard from Les.
That's
you heard
great.
from Indira. Now you hearing from me, Alex Brown, from Real Talk. I'll be seeing you.
I'm still pushing up weights here, trying to get it together. Welcome back to Real Talk. I'm here with my co-host, Alex Brown, and we are privileged today to be here with Miss Sarah Hearn, who is a blessing to our area, but she's also a blessing to this country and to the world. She is the owner and the founder of Positively Gospel. She is a journalist. She's also a missionary, international missionary. And so, Sarah, we welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I am just so excited that you considered me for your show.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to have...
As I said, the Phillip Carter show.
don't go there. Listen, first of all, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the DMV artists in this area for what you've done, even in your days with the, at the Washington Examiner, up to now, starting your own thing. You have really... brought gospel music to light in this area. We've had others who've done articles, my friend Hamil Harris, Washington Post, but you have been dedicated to uplifting artists in this area and highlighting events and things that probably a lot of us didn't know about. Wow. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I want to start talking about your journalism career. How did you get started in journalism?
It's very interesting. I'm almost an accidental journalist. I've always enjoyed writing. Mm-hmm. Always, ever since I was a little kid, I would write these poems that I would send to my aunts around the country, and I'd write short stories.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I was an avid reader. And back in 2011, around 2011, I was doing freelance work. Mm-hmm. And at that time, sometimes there was a lot of work, and sometimes there wasn't. And during those times when there was not a lot of work, it was kind of boring. Okay. So I would write to myself. And one day I saw an article from Examiner.com, and it said, we're looking for people who would like to write, and you can write about whatever you want to write about.
Wow.
Really?
Just apply.
Do they do that often? Because I got stuff that I want to.
Too late now, Alex.
It's too late now because actually they had closed. But so I said, well, I can do this. So I put in my application, and I said, well, I'm either going to write about music or I'm going to write devotionals. So they accepted me, and they decided that I would write about gospel music. So I said, wow, okay. Now, at the time, I thought I was writing for myself. Never in my wildest dreams did I think anyone else would read this.
Is that right?
I did not. Because this is, mind you, this is something just to pass the time while I'm waiting for the next thing to come around. My first article, 42 people read it. I got scared. 42 people read this. And then the next article I wrote about Kirk Franklin coming to he was coming to First Baptist Church of Glenarden. He was doing a CD release at that time, and people started emailing me and said, what time is the show? Is it free?
All of a sudden you're the authority.
Yes, I'm like, really? And it just sort of snowballed from there, because I think maybe 200 read that. And after that, I had various journalists just sending me information, press releases, and when I said this thing took off, it just went places I never imagined. So I started putting these releases out. The first PR person that actually sent me something was Andrea Williams, our very own Andrea Williams.
Yes.
And I would put up everything that she sent, and the word got out. People started calling me saying, can you interview this person? Can you come to this concert? But it just turned into something. But all I really wanted to do was to write for myself, and while writing for myself, be able to shine a spotlight on people in the D.C. area, because a lot of times those who are working in the trenches, they're not looked at on the national spotlight. So if I could do something in my little world to give people exposure, then I was willing to do it. And like I said, the Lord has been good.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know at the end of every year, when you put out with the top 10 things that happen in the DMV area with artists every year, I've been sitting there reading it like this. Most of us are reading and looking for our name, but I'm really reading it to try to get the information to see, you know, all the things. And there were some things I did not know that happened last year that I did not realize.
Wow.
Or I skimmed through and didn't really pay attention to. And that's, you know, and that's a lot of our stories. So, you know, a lot of, you know, I want you to know, a lot of what you do is very, very powerful. What I'd like to know is, in terms of stories, highlights, like, are there any, like, major stories that were highlights for you that you got the most readership on?
Actually, yes, it's very interesting, and one was most recent. But I think the biggest highlight for me, well, there were actually two. The first was that I had an opportunity to interview Richard Smallwood,
our
very own Richard Smallwood, wonderful, wonderful artist, beautiful person, and I never thought I would have that opportunity. And it was such an enjoyable interview. He was so gracious. And the next one was having the opportunity to interview Andre Crouch.
Wow!
A living legend. And once again, just a beautiful person. He basically spent the first 30 minutes talking about me.
Is that right?
Asking me questions about me. And I felt so humbled that this giant of not only of music, but a giant in the faith took that time for me. So that was very, very special and a big major highlight. But recently, I redid my website, did a complete makeover. Shout out to my webmaster, Ramaya Trask. He's out in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. So there was this young man that I saw on Facebook. And he was dancing with his kids. And he was singing the song, Jesus Got Me Lit. And he was just going on and on. And he was from South Carolina. I'm like, how cool is this? And I could see his passion for the Lord and the love that he had for his children. I said to myself, I think I'm going to call this guy. So I reached out to him. I said, well, I'm from South Carolina too. I have this website. Would you do an interview with me? And we did. We did the interview. And this is independent artist extraordinaire. Makes all his music himself, sells it out of the trunk of his car, ships it out from his home.
Right. He's doing it all the way.
One-man show.
One-man show. His name is Edwin Covington. Since I published that article, 12,000 people have read it.
Wow. Edwin, I'm going to write this down. Edwin Covington.
Edwin Covington. He's a rapper, got a great heart for the Lord. I was just so impressed. But so I would say, as far as impact, for someone like himself who's not known nationally, just working out in South Carolina, singing the music that he loves, you know, honoring God, to have 12,000 people view that.
Absolutely, that's major.
That's major because actually he has over 3 million Facebook views.
Is that right?
From Jesus Got Me Lit.
From Jesus Got Me Lit. Jesus Got Me Lit. Okay. You're from South Carolina, huh?
I am.
What part?
Charleston.
Is that right?
Yes, from the Charleston area.
Oh my goodness.
The country part.
I know
the country part, huh?
Y'all.
I know people in Charleston. I know people in Charleston.
Now, you deal with a lot of independent artists, and you know, I'm sure you see a lot. You know, I wonder what kind of advice do you have now for independent artists? What should we, you know, be focusing on, or tips that could help us do better?
Well, I would say, Phil, that I think you do a really great job with IGA and the DMV Alliance in sharing a lot. And I think one of the most important things that independent artists need to realize is that they have to focus on creating a brand, a universal brand, a 24/7 brand. As you've mentioned in some of your workshops, social media it can be a killer. It can either
make you or break
it. It can make you or break it. It either take you up or it can take you down. So I think as artists, independent artists especially, they have to create a brand that is a 24/7 brand. If you're singing the gospel message and you're trying to communicate the gospel message, your listeners have a certain expectation of you. So if you're on Facebook and there are certain things that you're saying that aren't consistent with that message that you're communicating, that could be a problem, and that's going to impact your sales, and that's going to impact your reputation. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. And also, I think artists need to recognize, once again, talking about the totality of the brand, that includes personality as well. You have to be nice.
Absolutely.
It costs you absolutely nothing to be nice to people.
But it can also cost you everything to not be.
Exactly. And I'll give you an example of how that's so important. The artist Taylor Swift. She has such a connection with her audience. She brings her music out, they buy it. Why? Because they think Taylor Swift is the most wonderful person in the world. Now, they really, really don't know her.
Right.
But it's how she communicates her brand. once a year I go to Grammys on the Hill, which is an advocacy group, and you bring all these A-list artists, and most of them are in the secular world. A lot of rock stars, R&B folks, the nicest people you'd ever want to meet.
Right.
They treat you just like how you and I are talking.
That's right.
And unfortunately, I have been in venues with independent artists where their attitudes could use a little work. So I would say for the independent artists, concentrate on having that 24/7 brand. Who you say you are needs to be who you are at all times. And before you make that social media post, think about it, or just write it, or like do what I did when I initially started being a journalist. Write it for yourself, and then and go from there.
That's awesome. And as far as that social media posting is concerned, I really take to heart everything I put. I talk to my wife about it. I try to be tactical about it. I have strong feelings about things one way or the other. And some things I don't do with it all. I just try to make sure that what I'm putting out there doesn't damage me, in some way that will cause my audience to go in another direction.
Right.
And that's vitally important. And a lot of artists, I think more now are taking it into account. Because if you post folly every day, then I'm going to your page to look for folly.
Right. Exactly.
I don't want you to preach to me after you post folly all day.
Exactly.
So you are what you post.
Right.
And
That's
people
exactly
don't
right.
want it to be that way, but that's just the way it is.
Right. And if I could add one more thing that independent artists should keep in mind, don't release your music until it's really ready, until it's really well produced.
Amen.
Because if you release something that's not well produced, that's going to be the lasting image that people have of you. So when you come up with the next one, which you may have learned your lesson, people are going to be a little less likely to want to pick it up. Unless you branded yourself very well, as we talked about before.
Right. Now, we've been talking about one side of Sarah Hunt. You got, Positively Gospel, and y'all can log on to www.positivelygospel.com and see everything she's writing about and just enjoy Sarah's works. But you are also a missionary.
I am.
And that is a gift, in my opinion. There are two kinds of people in church. There are those who do and those who support those who do.
Yes.
Well, three kinds. There are people who don't do anything.
Right.
But you are one of the people who do. And talk about, how did you get started in missions?
Once again, I think my whole life is some ways an accident, but we all know nothing's an accident because
Right.
God designs and ordains everything. But I initially, when my daughter was 15 years old, my church, we were living in Charleston at the time, they had a mission trip and they were going to Nicaragua, and she came to me and she said, "Mom, I want to go on this mission trip." Well, I was terrified, not because I was afraid something would happen to her, but because I would have to go with her.
Right.
And I had a fear of planes. I did not like to fly. And I did not go with my daughter. I sent her with one of my very close friends, and she went on the mission trip, and subsequently she went on other mission trips. But I always had a heart and a desire to do that, but I had this fear of flying. And I will tell you, fear is a very destructive force, because I was afraid, and I knew that God could deliver me from my fear, but I was afraid to ask him to deliver me from what I was afraid of.
Oh, wow.
I mean, how silly is that? But really, that's how paralyzing fear can be. But eventually, I said, I want to do this, and I prayed about it, and the first mission trip I took, I was still scared. I went to Haiti. And since then, the Lord, I've not had a problem getting on a plane. I've traveled all over the world, and I just thank the Lord for delivering me, and I thank myself for being smart enough to finally allow him to do the things that he has the power and authority to do in my life.
That's powerful. That's powerful in the sense that you said fear can keep you from failing, but can also keep you from flying.
Yes. Exactly. There you go.
Wow.
There
That'll
you go.
do it right there.
Oh, boy.
Quote Sarah Hearn. Quote them all. Wow. And what are some of the places you've been to?
Well, I've been to, as I mentioned, I've been to Haiti. I've been to the beautiful island of Dominica.
Wow.
Very luscious, kind of an eco-tourist place. I've been to India, been to Kenya 3 times. I'll actually be going back again in July. I have been to Nicaragua. Finally got there after my daughter went when she was 15. And I've also been to Puerto Rico. I just got back from Puerto Rico.
Can people donate to you if they, you know?
They actually can. Actually, I'm in the process of starting a nonprofit, and I'll be putting that information out soon, and it will list the various trips that I'm going on, and they definitely can donate, not only financially, but there are also items. A lot of times we'll take sanitary items, hygiene, various things. Sometimes we'll take clothing. School supplies, sure. Exactly. So there are a lot of needs in a lot of these third world, in the parts of these third world countries that we go to, because I don't want to give the impression that every country that's a third world country, that's the entire area. There are pockets of poverty in these countries, and so we do have those needs.
Right. Hobbies?
Watching old movies.
Old movies?
Black and white. My favorite movie is Gaslight with Ingrid Bergman.
Wow!
Yes.
Ask me if I know what that is. I have no idea.
I came out. I think in the 1940s, but it's my favorite movie. All of the old Hitchcock stuff, like Strangers on a Train,
The Birds.
North by. Oh, The Birds. Yes, yes.
Sports fan?
You might be okay after all.
You might be okay.
I'm trying to tell you. You didn't believe, but I'm trying to tell you.
Sports fan. I'm Clemson Tigers all the way. My daughter graduated from Clemson. Go Clemson. I'm all the way Clemson Tigers. I watch a little bit of football, but not that often. But of course, I support the home team, even though they lose all the time. But it's okay.
She said even though they lose all the time, so she threw your bone, but took it back.
That's okay. That's all right. You might be all right. That's all right.
If you had to give any advice to any young journalists out there, what would you tell them?
Just write. Just keep writing. Write about the things that you are passionate about. Because everyone, I think, wants to, they'll say, well, I want to be this or that when they grow up. And you may say, I want to be a journalist. But determine that. Is that what you really want to do? And if you want to be a journalist, start writing. You might be 6 years old or 7 and you're thinking you want to be, the next whomever. Start writing it. Whatever your passion is, start doing it now as a young person and see if you really like it. If you really like it, then find yourself a good mentor that can help you along the way. And don't give up, because one of the things you're going to realize is there are going to be a lot of pitfalls, a lot of stumbles along the way. But if you're passionate about it, stick with it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been wonderful.
Really insightful.
Yeah, stay right here real quick. We got some upcoming events we want to talk about in the DMV area, and I want you all to be aware because there's a lot going on in our area. A lot of events you can find on the site www.bygospel.com. The first thing I want to turn you on to or bring to your attention is March the 19th, which is our next DMV Alliance of Gospel Music Professionals meeting. If you are, an artist, manager, promoter, media professional, this is a wonderful forum for all of us to come together and talk about some things, not just for artists, but for us as media professionals and promoters and managers. It's a wonderful alliance. It is a subdivision of the GMWA Gospel, I want to say Gospel Alliance Guild, but that's not that anymore. It's the Alliance of Gospel Music Professionals. We are a subdivision. And so come join us on March the 16th at the Redeemed Christian Fellowship in Capitol Heights, Maryland at 7 p.m. We always have food, so you just come straight from work and join us on that night. We have the DMV Musicians Shed and Meetup. It's going to be an informal fellowship and a musician shed from 5 to 10 p.m. on April the 2nd. And our special guest will be Doobie Powell and band. And if you don't know who Doobie Powell is, look him up. He is the greatest underground artist ever in America in gospel music. Doobie Powell is coming with his band from Connecticut. We also have the young lady Trina Treen, who's one of the most sought-after organists in America. And we have musicians and singers coming from all over this area and all over the East Coast to be a part of the Shed. If you want to know what the Shed is, it's like a jam session where everybody that can in a 2.5-hour period becomes part of this jam session, and it goes on, and it strengthens us. It's very encouraging. It's not just for musicians, but it's for singers as well. You can log on to www.bygospel.com and see about that event. We also have Bring Back the Choir New Music Forum, which is a session that me, Stephen Key, and Rodney Teal came together and put together this session that connects local and national songwriters with local choir directors, musicians, and singers. And so songwriters submit songs, we come together, we sing them, and we take these songs back to our churches, and we have fresh music for our worship. All right, so I want to just talk to you about that. We also have an evening with Robert and Ronette coming up on May the 11th at the Queens Chapel United Methodist Church. It's a pre-Mother's Day event, and if you want to just have a great night out with Robert and Ronette, they're two of the hardest working artists in this country. Yes, Robert E. Person and Ronette Harrison. Come out and join us. Those tickets are $20. We also have an event that I created called Jazzpiration, a night with 3 legends. All instrumentalists, Mark Walker, Tony Walker, and Professor Alan Johnson coming together on a Monday night, June the 11th. Don't miss that event. You can get that on www.bygospel.com as well. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is the Independent Gospel Artists Alliance Conference, which is this is our 8th Independent Gospel Artists Alliance Conference. That is phenomenal. It'll be taking place at the Queens Chapel United Methodist Church from July the 12th through the 14th. Don't miss it. It's a 2.5-day boot camp with a lot of people coming together. We're bringing a lot of people from across the country. Today we just locked in Troy Sneed is going to join us this year for our IGA conference. Of course, Benita Bellamy Kelly and her husband Kevin Kelly is coming. He's a wonderful producer who is coming to shed some light. And Tamil Curtis is coming. A lot of people are coming to this event. Don't miss it. You can go to www.indiegospelalliance.com, www.indiegospelalliance.com. And I forgot to mention, we have the DMV Musicians Shed and Meetup, but we also have the DMV Musicians and Singers Banquet, where we're honoring 10 wonderful musicians and singers on June the 25th, Monday night. You can get your tickets. Those tickets will go extremely fast. We sold out the last event. It's going to be held at the Kettering Baptist Church in Upper Marlboro, the new Kettering Baptist Church Upper Marlboro. They have plenty of seats, but they will go fast because these church folk are coming to honor their musicians and singers. One of our legendary awards will be given away to Miss Shirley Abels. And if anybody, if you don't know Shirley Abels, just know how do you spell relief. Look up that song, J-E-S-U-S, it's Jesus. Dr. Ulysses Moyer and a host of other musicians and singers from around this area will be coming together. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to try to do this as much as we can because folks are leaving away from here and God is taking us away, and all of our time is limited. So you got to take each day for granted. And as we close, I want to talk about my friend Conrad Miller, who passed away this weekend. Of course, Sarah knows who Conrad Miller is. Alex has served at the IGA conference. Conrad has been a long-standing member of the IGA conference and a personal friend of mine. And he passed away this past weekend, and we want to honor his memory by playing one of his songs. Conrad was a great supporter, a great independent artist, and a great supporter of his church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we want his family to know that we are praying for them, and we are praying for his church family. But we're going to end this broadcast with a song by Conrad Miller called Caught Up. Y'all enjoy your week and have a great, great, great day.
He's coming back soon. You need to get your house in order. Hallelujah. Will you be ready? We're going away. Well, we're going away someday. One day. One day. We're going away someday. We're going soon and very soon. We're going away. We're gonna tell this world goodbye. The dead in Christ will rise first, and we who remain, we shall be caught up to meet him in the air. Oh yes, we shall be caught up to meet him. We shall be caught up to greet him. Coming back, but no man knows the day nor the hour. So the question remains, will you be ready? We're going. One of these days. We're going. Yeah. What a day it's gonna be when Christ returns to me. The dead in Christ shall rise first, and we who remain caught up. Caught up to meet Him. Caught up to greet Him. Caught up. For the Lord Himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Caught up to meet Him there. To meet Him there. We're gonna be caught up to meet. Yes, we will. Caught up to meet Him there. Get your house in order. To meet Him there. Caught up to meet Him there. Soon and very soon. To meet Him there. He's coming back. Tell somebody. The dead in Christ shall rise. I said the dead in Christ shall rise. We're gonna meet Jesus. We're gonna meet Jesus. Yes, we are. What a day it's gonna be. I will get a crown. You will get a crown. We all will get a crown. When we meet Jesus. Caught up to meet Him. Caught up to greet Him.
For more information on how to become a guest on Real Talk with Philip Carter, or for general inquiries, please email us at realtalkwithphilipcarter@yahoo.com. Tune in next Monday for another edition of Real Talk with Philip Carter.